live struggle legacy. It's a whole movement.
I got you, big baby. I keep the struggle live struggle, live music. Pay attention to how we do it. And so my dog who never made it out. Live struggle, I got you, homie. We break it out, live struggle, live music. Pay attention to how we do it. And so my dog who never made it out. Live struggle, I got you, homie. The things we do when we down on our luck, like a dolphin, anything to get fucked up. What you think? Now we out here trying to get locked up. Desperation brings desperate measures trying to come up.
Hey everybody, it's your boy MP, Live Struggle Legacy, and welcome to the Live Struggle Legacy podcast. Now, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification bell. If you ever want to drop a question for our guests, drop it in the comment section. Start a conversation. If you're listening on a streaming platform, please make sure you follow, download, rate us. You don't know how much that helps with exposure, so please let us know you're listening. And if you're looking to promote your business, holler at me, because we're looking for sponsors. So before I dive into our guest today, I got to give a shout out to a couple of the homies real quick. Big shout out to Moose in the Berg. This is a one-of-one creation. Moose makes clothing. He's even making furniture now, jewelry. A really dope, incredible person. Shout out to Bottomville Studios. And that brings me to Takeo Faison. Shout out to Cowboy Takeo. These shorts, if you're watching, if you're listening and not watching, I got on these gentleman shorts, right? Designed by Cowboy, produced by G-Man. So if you're like a Florida OG or even a Southeast OG, everybody knows G-Man. That's when you need a t-shirt, a nice crispy white tee or black tee, you go into any corner store, you walk in, you grab you a G-Man. Well, the homie Takeo Faison is another designer straight out of Bottomville Studios and a true Tampa native. He partnered with G-Man to do these really dope shorts and other clothing as well called Gentlemen, right? So this is affordable designer clothing that's accessible to anyone. So big shout out to Takeo Faison and G-Man for these gentlemen shorts. They are player, durable, comfortable, any event, any affair. And a big shout out to my homie Terrence Carter for this drip right here. So shout out to Terrence Carter of Krupp and Carter, who has a luxury BMX clothing brand like none other. So make sure you check out Krupp and Carter on all platforms. Now, our guest today is another really dope individual, none other than singer, songwriter, beat maker, producer. This man even plays instruments and just an all-around dope individual, Drew Goldmind.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here.
It's a privilege.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a privilege to have you. So I always like to do a little bit of an icebreaker, right, and say how we know each other. Now, this is not an uncommon occurrence on this show. A lot of people I've met in the same way we've met. This is the first time of us actually meeting in person, and I couldn't even trace back how we know each other from socials. I just know if I think that you're doing things that are worthy of sharing or of me following, posting positive things, inspirational things, right, creative content, music. I'm fucking with you, bro. I'm following you. So I'm pretty sure that's how this came to be. And at some point, we scheduled, I don't even remember, because this is a long time coming. I know we had to reschedule the pod, right? But what I always like to ask, so that's how I remember you, just being a dope individual out there, putting your content out in the world, posting positivity, sharing positivity. But I want to know, what about Live Struggle Legacy resonated with you?
Just genuinely knowing that my people and I came from struggle.
Yeah.
And then my intention is to build a legacy.
Yeah.
That goes further into generational wealth and things like that. So when I saw the symbology and I listened to a couple of shorts, I was like, oh, this is cool. Let me reach out to them and see if I can be a part of that. And it was really just in the moment, just intuition and a feeling, just running. So I did minimal research, and I was, listening to stuff, and I know you're into fitness, and you said you did time. I watched one of the interviews where you spoke on that a little bit, and then that you were also into music yourself.
Yes, sir.
So that was just overall, I just felt like I was interested to learn more.
That's what's up, man. And you know what, bro? I don't believe in coincidences. I truly do not. I believe that every single person in our lives come into our lives for a reason. And what that reason is, well, that's for us to determine, right? And we may never determine that reason. But I feel like you're here for a reason. I feel like, we had a short conversation off camera, and I feel like you definitely resonate, man. I feel like you have a story that's worth telling, that resonates with this platform, with the Live Struggle Legacy. And like a conversation that I had, and I had to share this on the last part as well, I've been criticized before for saying, like, why would you wallow in struggle? Why would you celebrate struggle? And clearly who this person has not watched. This person that said this to me, like, no disrespect to them, I understand that their intention was to pull me out of struggle, as if I'm stuck in struggle. And clearly we're thriving, bro. And it's not the struggle that we're thriving in. It's finding the silver lining in the struggle, right? So like, to your point, and what you said resonated with you. You're thinking about legacy, right? You've been through struggle, right? So it's like the important part of this podcast is to touch lives like your own, right? To say, like, listen, man, we done been through it. But we didn't let that struggle define us. And we took that pain and we transformed that pain into purpose. And we took that struggle and we transmuted that into legacy, bro. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. Utilize the struggle, I'm a firm believer that your biggest struggle points to your biggest strength.
Amen, brother. Yes, sir. I'll say thank you for that, because I mean, I found all my strength through struggle. If I'm going to be totally real, like, while we're on that topic, like, I grew up with not a whole lot of confidence, right? I grew up not thinking I had a whole lot to offer the world. And I was always passionate about music. And I ended up going to prison trying to fund my career in music. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I was taking shortcuts that ended up being a long way. You know what I mean? But it was in prison that I learned my self-value, bro. It was in prison that I developed my strengths. And had I not been through that struggle, I would have never developed the strength, the talents, the confidence that I needed to be the man, the father, the leader that I am to this day, man. And so, I appreciate you saying that, and that really resonates.
Yeah. The connotation to someone that's not from a struggle or doesn't truly empathize may scare people or make them uncomfortable, or even just the thought of going to jail or prison. Like, most people on the civilian level really feel that downgrades you or makes you a worse person, but there are people that come out of that improved and with emotional intelligence. I remember there used to be programs where you can get degrees behind bars, and that's ideally I think that's really smart, but as far as our society, do they really want to enable you to go that far? I'm not sure, but it's more of a for-profit now. But if they actually care about rehabilitation, then you can turn those terrible moments where you feel like breaking, you feel like, just giving up, into fuel, into skills, into just esteem. Whatever you feel like you need in your life, it's sitting behind all those fears.
Amen, brother. There's it's not what we go through, it's what we do about what we go through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. There's a quote that gets passed around that says, life is, 10% what happened to us, and 90% of what we do about what happens to us, mm-hmm. right? And I don't know if it's cut and dry, that simple, but I do believe that, it's the perspective that shifts everything.
Yeah.
So man, let's talk about and again, we're not here to celebrate struggle, but this is Live Struggle Legacy, man. So man, Drew, man, tell us your live struggle. Tell us your story. However deep you want to go into it.
Yeah. So I was born in Broward County, Broward County Medical, Coral Springs, really, and then I was raised mostly. When we first came to Pinellas, it was like right on the borderline in Oldsmar between Pinellas and Hillsborough, and then I've lived in Tampa. I've lived in St. Pete. I've spent a lot of time all over the place. I even spent time with my grandma in the Bronx, and time with my aunt, uncle, and cousin in Jersey. But growing up, I was one of the quieter kids, and I didn't realize that it was actually because of a specific reason. When I was 16, I got tongue surgery because apparently there's something called a phalangium underneath the bottom of your tongue that latches on.
Yeah.
And it was tied all the way to the front of my tongue.
Yeah. They call it tongue tied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the point where I was severely tongue tied to where I didn't even know it. I just really wouldn't talk much.
Yeah. How old were you when you had the surgery?
16.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were a teenager.
Yeah. So I was a teenager, and ironically, I would just be the quiet, like kind of like nice kid in the back, but that would result in a lot of fights because people would think I was weak.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I was in 4th grade. This girl dropped off a little love note on my desk, and this dude tried to start making fun of me, and ripped me out of my chair, and
You put paws on his ass.
yeah, I'm the youngest of 4. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
So-
you got big brothers.
Yeah, I got
okay,
big
yeah.
brothers,
They
yeah.
say don't play with somebody that got big brothers.
Yeah. They'd always train me to do, self-defense. But I would never start stuff.
Yeah.
But we got to the point where I full mounted him. I started bing, 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 and then he just broke out the pencil and just broke it off on my arm a couple times.
Man.
Yeah. So like you see that right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's like one under here that's like right around there, and then he hit me over here and like right over here. But yeah, and I was in 4th grade, just like leaking all over him and shit, and still like just trying to swing on him and everything. And but yeah, that resulted in, I think, because I lacked communication.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey bro, like, I don't even know what this note is. But it was just like when I would talk, it'd be more like this.
Yeah.
My tongue was so tight, it couldn't reach the roof of my mouth.
Yeah.
So it's probably my biggest struggle, and it pointed to my strength, which is like communication, expression, frequency. And but yeah, man, going through elementary, there was a fight that almost got me kicked out. Middle school, there was a fight that almost got me kicked out. High school, there was a fight that almost got me kicked out.
So you grew up bumping.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to act like I was like, my brothers really grew up bumping. I ain't going to lie to you. Like, I was more like on the back end, like they already know about me, but there were people that don't know and just coming to the school and then would be like, okay, he's quiet, he's a little bitch, and then when
Squeeze the motherfucking charm.
yeah, exactly. They think she's sweet and fun.
Yeah.
And then a lot of my friends grew up boxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Did you? So you got a martial arts background?
Yeah, I have wrestling, and then I have boxing, and then I've taken like classes here and there of like Muay Thai and capoeira and stuff.
Hell
like
yeah.
That. But definitely the most time I spent in martial arts was boxing.
Okay, that's what's up.
Shout out to Hard Body Boxing.
That's what's up. Where's that at?
Hard Body Boxing. He was working at a cultist for a while before they changed. I changed their name. I think now it's the Box, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, I haven't worked with him in a while. But he's a grade A professional boxing coach.
That's what's up, man.
Teaching the feet first, everything.
Yeah.
Old school,
Bro, so it's funny you say that because I had a little short thing with boxing. I loved it, but I was in the streets, bro. But what they did, and I couldn't stand it because all I wanted to learn. You know what I mean? I wanted to, and they would tie my feet together.
Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean, and teach me how to step before I
keep
punch.
you like within like a distance baby step.
Exactly, they would tie my feet together, and then they would have me like walk this line.
Put the bands on you.
You know what I mean? It's been so long. I didn't have the bands on me, but they would tie my feet together, and then they would have me.
Rope on you?
They would have me stay this.
Cool.
What's that?
They put regular rope on you.
My feet, my ankles. They would tie my ankles together.
That's
Yeah.
old school. But that's the same boxing gym that Winky Wright was at.
Bro, it's crazy you say that because 49th Street was where Wink was.
Yeah.
I was actually at 4th Street.
Oh, okay.
So
he was on the east end.
yeah, so it's crazy, bro. There were a lot of St. Pete legends in that gym. Wink did used to be in and out of that gym, I do believe.
It's almost near like Harbordale. And,
This was on the north side. This is 4th Street North. 4th Street, yeah. I want to say like around 30. I don't remember exactly where, but it was a great gym, man. There was a dude that had a major buzz, Diamond Dave Santos, and then
Sounds familiar.
and then I think Wink used to be in there. I think Jeff Lacey used to be in and out of there a little bit,
Okay. Wink.
but one of the OGs who was actually serving a life sentence in prison, I used to see him there all the time. Ronnie Black, right? Ronnie Black used to be in there, bro, in August. They didn't know AC in there. They just had the doors open. They had fans. He used to be in there in August with these big ass designer jeans, like some Timbo boots, this big ass thick ass shirt. And I remember he used to wear this. He had this Queen Nefertiti chain. You know Queen Nefertiti, bro. The chain was almost as big as the logo on your shirt, bro.
Yeah.
Like he would be hitting a heavy bag with all this shit on. Like that was probably one of my more powerful memories.
Most people don't know that's old school St. Pete. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that shit. But like that shit's crazy. The wave of how much money came through St. Pete is crazy, man. The mafia was out there. You know what I'm saying? And then I remember even on a revolutionary level, I think Huey P. Newton came out there.
I didn't know that.
To,
Wow, that's what's up.
You know what the Uhuru House is?
Oh yeah, for sure. I went to
Yeah,
school
and, like,
with Omali Yeshitela, whose dad was Mwamba. Omali Yeshitela was one of the head of the Uhurus, but Mwamba was my classmate in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he used to have this really dope thing called thebaybusiness.org, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I mean, I ain't really I kind of live in my own world,
Yeah.
but I hope he's doing well and thriving, man. And if you're out there, man, holler at me. I would love to have you in the show and see what's happening, right? But shout out to the Yeshitelas and the Uhuru House. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They had a gym, bro. And here's a funny thing for me. Like one of the first places I tried to get a job after coming from up the road. You know, like I see things different. I view things differently, man. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't want to go to a corporate structure. And they had the Uhuru gym on 9th Street. And I went in there, and when I went in there, they're looking at me like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Like what?
Yeah, but I don't see it like that. I'm like, if you only knew me and my heart, my spirit, like, you know I'm a good fit for this gym.
And authentically, like when you might have that initially, but yeah, if your biggest critic with persistence becomes your biggest supporter.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real. I love that quote. Say that again, bro.
Your biggest critic with persistence will turn into your biggest supporter. If you're not persistent and proving them wrong, then and just being yourself authentically, then it might just fall off and you might prove them right for being a critic.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
You know, on the other hand, you get somebody that's a critic, it actually, to me, signals intelligence.
Yeah.
You're not just accepting everything. You're not just looking people up like, oh yeah, that's true. I believe
You got
that.
discernment. You got to feel somebody out first. You're not taking for surface level.
Yeah.
That's real, though. That's real, man. That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
Okay, so my bad. I digress. So you talked about the boxing,
Yeah.
right? So you're born in Broward, and then eventually made your way to the Bronx. How long were you in the Boogie Down Bronx, man?
And I was just in there for summers.
Okay.
Summers, weeks on end, here and there. I think the last time I went there was probably the wildest one because this is just a side journey, side quest. I was with my aunt and my brother. We were going into Manhattan on the ferry. And I just seen this fine little thing sitting there on the ferry, and I was just like, she's sitting by herself. And she had the little sideways hat. She had the 90s swag to her. She looked like she was mid-30s, and I was just walked her down. And I had a camera with me, and I was like, you want some, a photo? So I worked my little magic. She wanted to invite me back to her spot that night. She stayed in Hunts Point in the South Bronx. If you know the South Bronx, but that's a bad part.
Okay.
That's a rough spot.
Yeah.
And she 5 stories up, and I'm walking up
In one of them buildings.
Bro, she came down, meet me down in the building. 20 dudes already hollering at her. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm walking up, and then you got old buddy left and right talking about, who is it? Talking crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we get up to her spot. She's the sweetest thing. She started cooking some wild caught salmon and wild rice and vegetables and showing me that it's organic and shit like that. And she's just looking good in the kitchen. AC breaks. Just stops. She's freaking out. She started putting, and I'm not gonna ever air her out because she's a beautiful woman. I'm not gonna say her name or none of that. But start putting towels in the freezer, wet towels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, she ready.
She been through it. She know what to do.
You know what I'm saying? Then she started doing a little breath work and started calming back down,
Yeah.
finishing cooking, opening the windows, all that. And I was like, okay. When she opens the window, a car alarm goes off. She sticks her head out the window, bro. And she eyes get wide, but she opens that drawer, grabs a knife and a taser, sprints downstairs. My first time ever meeting
It was
her.
her car?
No, winded up being her friend's car who was in the hospital.
Oh, she was holding it down for a friend.
I was like, damn, that's like low key. As much as that looked like a red flag, that's a straight green flag.
Hell yeah,
You
bro.
know what I mean? Like,
She's looking out for her people, man,
Yeah.
with the taser and the knife.
yeah, at first I was like, I'm in survival mode. I was like, I don't. She left the door wide open and we in the middle of the project, bro. She's sprinting downstairs with a knife.
Yeah.
That was rough. That was probably. My brother was. Man, free my brother, man. He dealing with some crazy shit, but he was like, "This, you took me on the craziest missions of my life, man."
That's wild, bro. So did it ended up being a good night though. It didn't turn into a bad night.
It wound up being kind of a bad night because like she started crying and stuff because she like couldn't really decompress and it felt like she was super paranoid. She was sweating and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So like it was not like we didn't like hook up or nothing. You know, I just kind of like hung out with her a little bit, told her it was gonna be all right. You know. But it showed me really what you deal with, and like what my parents deal with in like the like saturated projects, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we out here in Florida,
And that's where both parents were from in the Bronx.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. You know, it's very saturated. So like out
Yeah.
here, we got space between stuff. It gets wild, and Florida, you know, Florida just is crazy, you know. So, but like the projects up there, bro, 15 stories back to back, a low income, it just gets wild, bro, for real. So, yeah, man. I'm not trying to digress and dive up into it, but yeah, that's probably like my last experience in the Bronx,
Okay.
man. And then like, if I ever go back out there, man, I'm trying to stay in like the clean areas because, man, I feel like I was very bold walking through there. You know what I'm saying? And like I got off the plane and all that stuff, and I'm normally like in like self protection and like even at the Hoover House, I helped volunteer when. Family Ties Firearms did a concealed weapons course for women.
Yeah, that's what's up. And this is in the Berg in St. Pete. Yeah, it's on 18th. Yeah.
Yeah. So they did the class in the Hoover House, and then it went to like an outdoor range after that. And so like it was pretty cool.
Okay,
It's
that's
really
what's
a
up,
good
man.
vibe to see though, like all these women come out and like actually learn about that stuff because I definitely am a firm believer in enabling young women to be like self-defense because you're not always going to be there, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So,
absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure, bro. So you spent some time in the Bronx, and then you spent some time like in the sticks a little bit too, right? In North Carolina, you said, right?
yeah, then that was a wild time. Yeah, I was helping my friend move. He just kind of did some wild thing where it's like this girl wanted to move to North Carolina, and they just took off, and he had like a family connection out in a region that was probably like 30 minutes to like an hour away from where we were located. And he had a job, it was like tree service, but we talking about doing tree service in the mountains. Like he was climbing trees and like so it was crazy. But
Like with spike boots, like real
shit,
no
like,
no lifts.
Yeah.
Spike boots, yeah.
And like, the spike boots, no lift on that, and just throwing the fucking the harness around it.
Yeah.
So man, and I was like a point where I was like I was gonna do that, but I was like, nah, man, I know my crazy ass. You know, I'm probably not gonna. Let me just work at this little burrito spot or help my friend out and do some shit online. Yeah, man, it was a couple months out of the year that it got to the point where I was just like, fuck this place. Pardon my language. Okay.
No, you good, bro. We're
I was
ancestors.
just, man, it's beautiful. Beautiful, you know what I'm saying? You take it through like summer, spring, you know what I mean? You get to fall and winter, man. Like I was in a barn like type of house, like a farmhouse where there wasn't any central heating. You know, it had little AC window units and stuff like that, but it didn't have central heating and that shit got cold. And
I can only imagine, bro.
yeah, you had to warm up your car early, and we were 4,000 feet up, and in order to get signal, bro, you had to travel like 30 minutes into Boone, in North Carolina. Yeah, man, it was a short little time, but it like definitely changed my life. Showed me like what it was like to live out in like the sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, because I'm used to swamps, and maybe the project's a little bit, not really, like unless it's more like these like one level projects out here.
In St. Pete or Tampa Bay area.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But like sky, 15-story high.
It's different up there, bro.
Man,
yeah.
like, that shit does get crazy. But I love the Florida outdoors, man. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah,
the springs. You said something about the springs.
Yeah, bro. So I have a confession to make. As a Floridian, this is kind of embarrassing, but I have never in my life been to the Springs.
Really?
Yeah, but
you might have to change that.
Yeah, man, and it's not that I don't appreciate the beauty, but I'm gonna be completely honest, man. I was born in Arizona. I consider myself a St. Pete native because I'm third generation on my mom's side, and I've been coming since I was an infant, since birth.
Okay.
But I was born where it gets 140 degrees with the heat index, right? In Arizona in the West, dry heat. And then I spent summers, where we got humidity, right? And then even in like I have family in New York, upstate New York. My dad's from upstate New York. So I spent some summers there, like going to the track and all that. But we would also spend winters there. We would have white Christmas, you know what I mean? In New York. So like that's the only cold I got. But I'd be bundled up. I'd be in the house. You know what I mean? Maybe we go outside all bundled up, make a soul man or something, right? But like for the most part, I grew up in heat, and that being said, like I'm super sensitive to cold. Yeah. And so like when I even just here on let's say Paso Grove Beach, that's the beach for me. Paso Grove Beach, the St. Pete Beach area. Yeah. It could be summertime and that water's too cold for me. If there's a little chill in the air, yeah, bro. I'm telling you right now. So like you telling me that the springs where the water's like 72 degrees, bro. 72 degrees is freezing for me. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, it feels so good.
Yeah, well that's when, and then everybody keeps saying, no, you got to go out when it's like 100.
Yeah, right now and then ideal.
Yeah, and then my mom, when we go, he'll sometimes go in the winter when it's cold, and then you get in the spring water and it feels warm. Right? When it's 40 degrees out, that 72 feels warm. Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? But I'm just not quite built like that, man. I'll be honest. I do need to experience it. Yeah, I know my son, he's not affected by cold water at all. He'll jump in any water.
I take the paddle boards out, man.
Yeah.
My previous partner, she definitely influenced me to be on that paddle.
That's what's up, bro.
Yeah, shout out to her, man. That was a great woman, man. We fell out on a weird way, but
it happens, man.
Very positive influence in my life.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Interesting connection. Like my last partner was very big into paddleboarding, and she would go all out around, the Tampa Bay area, and take her kids paddleboarding. And I think that's dope, bro. But I can relate to that about learning something through a partner, being introduced to things that maybe you weren't on before. And I mean, we could all learn from each other, man. I mean, we should all be learning from one another, right? And even if something doesn't work out, well, there's lessons there to take us into the next phase in life, right?
Yeah. Oh, about the springs, man. Last time I went to, well, not the last time, second last time I went to Rainbow River.
Okay.
And I had a friend, Megan, shout out to Megan, man. She bought me these flippers, and and I swimming in the water, and I didn't know I did know from last time, but I didn't know I was near them. It's like all these alligator gar, right?
With the little narrow noses, right?
No, they almost look like freshwater barracudas. They got sharp teeth.
Yeah.
And so, man, swimming in that water, being next to like a 2-3 foot alligator gar that's like semi-aggressive, not really, but will come up and check you. And if you go into their territory, they will surround you. Like all of them will surround you.
Like a lot of them.
Yeah, and yeah, that was.
So you had an encounter. You had a gar encounter.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool because it made my heart jump a little bit, but then I've relaxed,
How close was it?
It had to be like 2 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, 2
Just
feet.
one of them or a bunch of them?
Just the one I saw. There's probably more, but but when I got back on my board and I was paddling by them, they all surrounded me. But like it was like a curiosity. It wasn't like really aggressive.
Yeah, unless you're near a nest or something, well, at least for regular gators. Like people are like, oh, you got flooding gators. It's when people are feeding them that they get crazy. Yeah. And if you're near a nest and growing up by Lake McGorry and just being surrounded by bodies of water that are infested with alligators, you learn like you let them live. Don't be walking little small dogs and keep small children away. But other than that, if they don't think you're food, they're not messing with you unless you go near a nest. Then you know.
I heard some wild things about McGorry too, and I heard some wild stories.
Yeah, man, I got unfortunately too many of those for the show, even, bro.
Too many for the show,
and really just some awful.
St. Pete really like that, man.
Yeah, some awful stories from Lake McGorry, bro. Yeah, man.
A lot of tourists don't even realize how traumatic the South Side really got. Like,
yeah, bro. That's something we were talking about off camera too.
Rough.
Like in the areas now where people walk there with Pomeranians with their diamond jewelry and stuff. Like, man, when I was a kid, that was a good place to get robbed. 100%. You know what I mean? And like nothing but drunks, homeless people, and if you were out there, like you got to keep your head on a swivel, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember there was a little buddy that came here from Boston with a big old ego, and he moved down to South St. Pete, and he still had a big old ego, had like this silver chain, and then like had his he was walking home from work and had like the silver chain swinging and like had both his headphones on, trying to like walk with a swag, and like I know him, so I can envision it, but he called me afterward, crying and shit, like.
When they got him.
Yeah, he was like 17, 18 at the time. Yeah. So he wasn't really, he was still like a young boy, but like the reality is bro, like you're from Boston, bro. Like this is South St. Pete, bro. You're walking with a chain swinging and you got two headphones in, like, and you're walking down 31st Street, you know what I'm saying? Like, you like right around, it was like 31st Street and like probably like 22nd Avenue. You know the little trail?
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly.
Some shit around there. And, yeah, man, that's
got him.
Yeah, got him quick. And then, I felt bad for him, but I also was like, I would never do that.
Well, bro, like, I think I'm not a person that, like, I love my city. Yeah. I love my city, bro. And I did used to be, I love it to the point of ego where, like, I was kind of blinded to the rest of the world. And honestly, it took my experience in prison dealing with all kinds of people from not just different cities, different states, but all over the world to realize, man, every place has a hood, you know what I mean? Like, and every city deserves its respect in its own way. Every city has something special to offer, and then also places to watch out for. But just growing up, what I remember, so now I'm saying that to say whenever I go anywhere, I carry myself with a certain respect for where I'm at, especially if I don't know where I'm at. I'm not going to assume that, that I know a place when I don't. You know what I mean? I have to have first-hand experience. And even then, like, different people can come through different places, right? Yeah. But that being said, like, growing up in St. Pete, I would always see people come down, like, namely in high school, from bigger cities with this, this big ego, like, oh, I'm from whatever, we're better than you. And, man, they you know the saying, you fuck around and find out. Yeah. They would fuck around and they would find out. Yeah. Like, this may be a little city, but it's not a city to be played with. You know what I mean?
It's dense, it's like a gridlock for real.
Yeah.
And you go to it like, you might be blind off of Central and maybe a couple avenues south and north, and down near the beach and all that. You know what I'm saying? It's cool, and some parts of the north side is still really, really nice. But then there's there's little gaps in between there that just get so neglected by the infrastructure in the city and or maybe some old homeowners and people that don't want to move out and stuff like that. They which I can't blame them, bro. Keep that in the family. You know what I'm saying? Keep your land, keep your home. But yeah, man. Like it gets pretty serious, man. It's a beautiful city. Like I tell people this whenever I speak about the hood or the ghetto or the projects, right? That same block that there's a trap, I bet a couple homes over there's a granny with an organic garden.
Absolutely,
You see
bro.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely, or a flip lady, or you know what I mean. Like,
So
you know what a flip is? I just to make sure. Okay.
Candy lady.
Yeah. Well, like back in the day, they would take the cups and pour juice in them and put a popsicle stick in it and then freeze it and then you flip it and you sell the, you know what I mean, like a popsicle, like a homemade popsicle.
I love that, man. That would save my ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes, man. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely on that. But there's choices.
Yeah.
So you can have a totally different experience in the same neighborhood.
Absolutely. So, bro, like without getting too off base, man, I want to dive. So we talked about a little bit about you know where you grew up, different places you lived, but what we haven't dived into yet is your passion for music and how did that come to be?
Passion for music, man. I guess it really stemmed from my dad. Really, originally, like I didn't even, so to say, realize it. Like I saw him like playing like guitar and stuff growing up, but I didn't realize like how deeply rooted he was like growing up. He was from the Bronx, and he was in a band called Spice.
Okay.
Yeah, and they actually opened up for Patti LaBelle, and he still has. I can send it to you. He still has like some records online, but what happened is that he had a record, basically like a contract with Don King. This is according to him. You know what I'm saying? Like through
Was it with Don King in the record business?
Yeah, it was called
shit.
Lori Joe. There was a record label called Lori Joe that he
and Don King had his hands in it.
Had his hands in it. And essentially my dad was young and dumb and signed over all the rights. So like they're still spinning the record. And I looked online, if you could try to get like a vintage unopened version of it, they're still selling it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. By the band Spice.
Yeah, but he's not getting it. He's not getting
paid for it.
Royalties for that. Yeah, that's so like it kind of taught me a lot. But so he still like makes music here and there, but it just, I feel like that potentiality to actually live more of an abundant lifestyle could have been easily, I guess, transmuted just by a better decision.
Yeah.
And knowing a little more business, not being excited about the little show money and signing over full rights, like give me royalties, and you know, I want that long-term back-end passive income still calling in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he played guitar, he wrote lyrics, but I really didn't even know the depth of it till I got older. But then after I got tongue surgery when I was 16, I was writing poetry starting when I was like 10. I turned a lot of that into spoken word and then hip hop. I loved like D-Block, Bone Thugs and Harmony, you know, Tupac. I was in a little bit of Biggie.
You mentioned Nas in your bio.
Yeah, Nas.
Yeah,
Nas. Definitely love a lot of Nas, man. That was one of the first albums that I bought myself growing up, was the Untitled album.
Okay.
The Untitled one.
What's a big song on that one? I should know this. I'm a huge Nas fan.
It has one like, Queens get the money, niggas still dreaming paper chasing. But presidential candidates is planning wars over stakes with Masons. I forget.
Okay. I know that bar.
It's he has it's called Queens Get the Money, that song right there, and then what's Hero?
Okay.
Hero was on there.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like I was listening to him and like I was doing a LimeWire and all that stuff, but it was like the first album that I actually purchased myself with my own money that I earned.
That's a beautiful memory too, man.
Yeah. But before that, for like Christmas, I had asked my dad to get me Jagged Edge, when I was like 12, and I was like, I swear I was like a player with like the girls and stuff. It was funny, and that was back before I was still tongue tied and I was still like really quiet and stuff like that. But transmuting that whole quietness into a vocal expression and being able to spit, it was a challenge. I had to reteach myself how to talk, you know, literally after that, because it felt like I didn't even have a tongue after they cut that piece out for a while. And then I picked up a bass guitar.
Okay.
And then I went to a music festival when I was a little bit younger. Oh, damn, almost about 10 years ago. It's called Orange Blossom Jamboree.
That's what's up. In Orlando?
No, this one was in Brooksville.
Brooksville, okay.
And I was like a +1 to this band called Shoeless Soul.
Oh, did you play?
No.
Okay.
I didn't play with them. I just kind of helped them set up the band.
That's what's up. So you were like a stagehand. Hell yeah, that's what's up.
And move materials.
That's a great experience.
But yeah, they just gave me like the opportunity to like be behind the scenes on this music festival. And I was still really shy with my music at that time, and I really didn't promote nothing, and I was quiet. But there was one night when I took a little like microdose of some shrooms. Yeah. Shout out to that. I'm really like actually into that because I think it's like it's helpful for people that have like PTSD. You don't want to go too crazy on like a huge macro dose, but I was on like just a little
heroic dose.
A heroic dose is outrageous. Yeah, you might see some things. But I was walking and I just heard this flute playing for a while, and like I traveled through this like music festival and found this tent where the flute was playing, and there was like a little girl playing it, and there was like this older man by the name of Ray. It was like Ray Island Flutes.
Yeah. And
I just saw this one flute, and you know how have you ever experienced psilocybin?
Oh, bro, I'm huge advocate. I microdose on a regular, bro, just to be real. And to be real, like I was anti for a long time because I had a bad experience as a child with LSD. So, and what I realized after my first experience, which I used medicinally to help me through a situation, I finally, I fully embraced it because of what it helped me through. Literally developing neural pathways to think with a mind that's not mine, because we're so stuck in our conditioned mind. And that's what it does for me, is it helps me get out of my conditioned mind and see things, or think things differently, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I didn't mean to stop you. So you were on a dose, you were having an experience, and you came across the young girl with the flute.
Yeah,
sir.
Exactly. And she was in the Ray Island Flute little vending like tent.
Oh, they were selling flutes.
They were selling flutes.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, so but the whole reason why I said that, how everything appears like brighter and you just feel like
senses are wide
senses
open.
are just like a little more amplified. There was just one flute just hanging on the wall. I was like, oh yeah, that's it. I'm buying that immediately. And I just walked up, grabbed it, and bought it and purchased it. And that was that flute that's in that Springs video.
So time out real quick, because now that you said that, I was gonna bring that up, bro, and I want to say like to the audience real quick. So whenever I vet a guest, because like right now I'm booked like 2.5 months out, right, and I'm getting a lot of people reaching out to want to be a guest, right. So at some point I had to figure out, okay, who's a good fit, who's not, right? I never want to tell anybody no, but at some point, I had to start saying like, listen, I don't know if you're just trying to promote a business or a brand and there's no story behind it, you know what I mean? Like, and I can't be bought either, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, to a certain extent, I'm looking for sponsors and whatnot, but like, if you're just trying to come on here and talk about your business and there's no, authenticity behind it, there's no story behind it, like, I'm not interested, bro. But on that note, when I checked you out, I always check out the page, check out the profile, and when I saw you in the spring with the flute, I said, man, we booking. I hit you up, bro, with these are the availability. This is what I got. You know what I mean? Like, that's a dope picture, and I saw the fact like, okay, this ain't just another. And no disrespect to anybody out there that's rapping or whatnot, but I'm like, this ain't just another rapper that wants to talk about whatever. This is somebody that clearly has some substance, and so yeah, man. So tell us about it. Tell us about the flute, man.
According to my mom, her grandmother would claim Navajo.
Yeah.
So I kind of like tapped into that. It's a bamboo flute. It's like an American Indian style. It's in A minor, pentatonic.
Yeah.
And I believe it's 440. I want to say 444.
Yeah.
Hertz. But yeah, it's super simple. It's just literally like you keep one finger down the whole time, and then you just kind of like move up progressively. But it's all about the rhythm and the breath.
Yeah.
So learning that rhythm and that breath is kind of challenging, just because moving throughout days, most people actually don't breathe enough. You know, we go through life and they're just holding your breath, and we don't know that it turns into knots, inflammation, that turns into headaches, that turns into. But yeah, the flute definitely taught me a lot more about breath work.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I'm grateful that you look at me like that. That I actually have some substance. I'm not just any other rapper, because I kind of slowly strayed away from that same term just as a rapper, quote unquote. Because I'm really authentically like into hip hop, you know, and I feel like rap is just kind of like a subsection of hip hop that's more of lyrical performance.
Yeah.
You know, it's just all about like who got the swaggiest like rap type shit. But hip hop, on the other hand, is like authenticity and like grounded in like community and actually has purpose. You know, not that rap doesn't, it can, but I feel like it's just a branch off of the tree.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I love the strings and going out there. Last time I was playing, actually, when I was playing that flute, there was a wild turkey that came up to me, and it was just like looking at me, and I was like, yeah, it's wild, because they talk about that a lot, and in American Indian symbology with different tribes, they talk about turkeys and stuff. So,
did you look up the symbolic meaning behind it? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of it depends on what tribe you go to, but it's kind of like life and vitality, and you know, because you know you can technically hunt them or eat them, but at the same time, it's just like more of a this free roaming life and vitality. I'm sure like I can look up and find specifics on it. Yeah, that was definitely something that I like to look into symbologies.
Do you think you were feeling that in the moment you were playing it, like life, vitality, like?
Yeah, I definitely was. I actually zoned out pretty bad to where it was like, by the time, so when I play the flute, I naturally close my eyes. I just go into this zone of where I'm just breath and rhythm and bounce. And when I opened my eyes, there was probably like 3 or 4 people like floating by on paddleboards, like smiling. And then there was like the turkey behind them. And I was like, oh shit, there's a turkey. And then they all turned. It was like, oh, we didn't know there's a turkey over there. Yeah. But yeah, I noticed that the more I play it, the more in tune I get to it. Actually, in nature, like the animals start coming around. Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So like, to go back to your mom real quick. So you said your mom is Navajo, has Navajo roots.
That's what her grandmother said, but my mom personally believes it's just more Taino. Okay. Because her roots do trace back to Puerto Rico.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And if you look at my grandmother was like very short, dark-skinned, curly hair. And just looked more, just definitely like the Taino people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what's up.
So, go ahead.
No, my bad. Well, the only reason I would really, I mean, of course, I'm very interested in getting to know about roots and ancestry, right? Yeah, and I think it's a big part of legacy, and you know what I mean, healing through the ancestral line, so to speak. You know what I mean? But what really piqued my attention in that context was like, I was born in Arizona at the foot of the Superstition Mountains, and when I was a little kid, I had like the luxury, the privilege of being able to walk a quarter mile from my dad's house into the Superstition Mountain. There wasn't a reservation, even realer than that, predating reservations, hieroglyphs. And they were Navajo. There were a lot of Navajo tribes. There were Apache as well. They were actually warring tribes back in the day. But they were Navajo and Apache.
That's in Ute.
Yeah, so you clearly, you know, I mean, I've done the research as a child, and I'm embarrassed to say a lot of that stuff has left me, you know, because I've experienced so much. It's like my brain starts to create space. And
it's ironic. I was listening to one of the Navajo elders that still like exists speak about how the influence of like different like sides of like Europe came through, and he was speaking how like the British came through and they wanted to like mine and get like all the minerals, gold, the silver, and they had like turquoise in those regions. That's why like Navajo is very into silver and turquoise.
Yeah.
And they're big on like not mining it, but if you find a piece like it's almost like viewed as a gift, but like you're not supposed to actually pull it from the ground. You know,
Oh,
you're not supposed to
okay.
like dig it out.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to take it away from the earth.
I love that. I love
but-
that philosophy.
Yeah, they were talking about how the British came through on that, and that's what like they disagreed on, and then how the Spanish came through, and they were like, you know, more forceful about their religion and the slavery and stuff like that. But actually, it got to the point where the warfare was more psychological, to where they got the neighboring tribes to kind of like kill each other, basically.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's what's happening right now, and that's been the strategy for the longest. And people are so blinded by the latest, headline or political talking head that they forget that that's been the strategy all along,
Yeah.
and that people are still being played, and for anybody that says, oh, that was so long ago, well, yeah, I mean, we're supposed to learn from history, not repeat it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even though we may be repeating in a different context.
And then I'm sure you heard the term like even like skinwalker and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so what that came from originally with the Navajo was, I'm sure that I'm lacking a lot of context and actually like in-depth detail, but was like basically assassins that would wear animal skins, like wolf skin or like different skins, and like creep into the like the British camps or the Spanish camps or the neighboring tribes like that they were warring with, and just like kill people just because they were like they had enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro.
But I think that slowly transitioned into a lot of myth and lore around like genetic splicing and weird little creatures running around with
People took it and ran with it.
like black eyes.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of they took it and ran with it, but who knows? They might be doing that in the underground labs deep off in these fields somewhere.
They got a whole show on it, yeah,
You know
bro.
what I'm
But
saying?
then again, like everything is for views, and But I don't discount anything. I've lived a life where it's like, man, I mean, I don't wholly believe very much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Except for my faith. You know what I mean? And when I say faith, I mean like I trust the process, I trust the universe, I trust the frequency. You know what I mean? I trust, but like in terms of man shit, I don't trust a whole lot, man.
Yeah.
I was burned a long time ago with that. You know what I mean? But I do have faith in people, and I think there's a thin line between like not trusting man-made bullshit, yet having faith in the human spirit, bro. I will always have faith in the human spirit.
Yeah, there's definitely a thin line like between like discernment and being cynical.
Boom, bingo, yes, bro. That well said, very well said, brother.
Because I definitely feel the same. There's definitely a lot of humanity that can be hard to get along with, or people that are easily convinced, or like gullible and just believe titles of articles and don't want to read the full article or the study. They'll take a 10-second clip of an interview and run with some crazy story around it and not even see the context that, for instance, like somebody might have been reenacting a story and they take a short clip of that and then they treat it like that person was saying that.
It's like as a kid with telephone. You know what I mean? You know where they pass it down, and now it's a completely different story than what was originally.
This pinpoint.
Yeah, and now it's even worse though because people are so desperate for social media clout that they literally just make shit up.
They dig for
shit. It's just ridiculous, bro. We're in a weird time.
Yeah, we're definitely in a time where the thing is definitely finding with what I've noticed as far as the newer generation, it's finding the most catchy gimmick combined with affirming yourself with either like some sort of record in the street or some wild viral video story or something that you did, rather than being like, oh, this man's like amazing musician. Like there's still that, and there's still those communities that exist but the general like young generation that make things go super viral are solely looking for like the flashiness.
I learned a funny catchphrase, a brand new catchphrase. I'm probably like sounding like an old head right now.
Yeah.
But have you heard the term clipping? So that's a new thing that people are saying, like, oh man, he's clipping, man. You're clipping. Like, in other words, like you're putting on for the gram or you're putting on for the camera, right? Like that's not who you are, and that ain't even like you're showing out. Essentially, they say you're clipping. Have you heard that before?
Nah, but
It's like some new shit.
It's like you biting or some shit like.
See, yeah, kind of like that, but saying like, man, you're clipping. In other words, because they call them clips, reels, clips, right? So it's like, man, you're clipping.
Yeah.
You're just putting on for clout.
Yeah. Yeah, people do that. I mean, and they also do that. They're like there's people that get paid to create like channels of like existing influencers, and they take the clips.
Yeah, yeah.
Just create short reels and stuff. Yeah, man. I'm trying to get authentically back into the spirit of music, and just I kind of got pushed away from it just because I was so enthralled with a deep relationship, and so I was like, I wouldn't say sidelining my music. I would just, how I do it is like I'll build up experiences and like slowly like produce instrumentals. But what I'll do is I'll take one section of time, like 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, a week, where I'm just slamming music out. So I might knock out an album in a week, but the album was a year in the making. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I took time to write all those things. I took time to make all those beats, but like how I work is just patiently towards the end goal without any type of specific rush on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
so you ain't putting a deadline on it. You're just gonna.
I'll put deadlines on it, and I'll put like actual dates on it, and I know that not everything comes out at those specific times, and I might even drop something intuitively. There's like, if I was to get in the studio and I feel like dropping it tonight, I'll drop it tonight. But realistically, how I like to do it is thematic projects and in-depth music that's heartfelt. So it's not like I'm not gonna just go rush in the studio all the time and freestyle over someone else's beats and shit like that, which is cool. Like I hop on, like the different freestyle shows, and I wouldn't mind doing that type of thing. Yeah. But as far as me like getting in tune with like recording, no, I want like, let's make this from scratch.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. So did you ever record the flute?
I have recorded the flute, and I've made a couple beats with the flute.
Oh, bro, I want to hear them.
Yeah. You know what? Those it's kind of a little tough because of how, see, it's a pentatonic, so it's like a specific. That's
the jazz scale, right? Or the blues scale. The blues scale.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it's a specific scale, and then it's also tuned to like that 440.
Yeah. 40, and what's the name of it again? My bad.
Huh?
What's the name of the flute? What do you call it?
Well, it's an A minor.
Okay, so it's just an A minor flute.
A minor, okay. Pentatonic, bamboo flute.
Okay, bamboo. It's made out of bamboo.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And I didn't mean to interrupt, but you said it's tuned at 444.
Yeah, 444. And sometimes using the plugins or making beats, you can find it like a little challenging to get into certain plugins and actually tune those VSTs to those hertz to match that. So if you're maybe playing A minor, but it might be in 440, or so I tune it up. But it can naturally do that in post editing. But I like the VSTs where you can do it right there. And this is kind of like some like sound engineering stuff. They won't really know like what we're talking about unless they making beats. But
we got a lot of people that fuck with the pod, engineers. But VSTs are virtual instruments, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like, and here's what's incredible, right? So I have a little bit of a music education. I went to the MIRA program at SBC, the Music Industry Recording Arts program, and I really only did that so I could communicate better what I want with engineers. I do sound engineer, but that's not my thing, and I'm honest with myself about it. I don't really even want it to be my thing. I like the creative process a lot more than the technical process. But I will say this, I learned so much through that program. And there's this ongoing debate in the music world about like analog versus digital, right? But it's like, it's like, man, those VSTs, for those who aren't hip to this, virtual instruments compared to actually having the real instrument or actually having the real hardware that you need to run the sound through. But what's amazing is you could have a whole building full of hardware and you could put it all into VSTs, virtual instruments, and have access to that exact same sound. And the only person that's going to know the difference is some like super eccentric audiophile who has a almost mutant ear. Like, even to a lot of musicians, you wouldn't even know the difference, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I would agree.
That's how good they've gotten with these VSTs, these virtual instruments.
You have to have a really good ear to notice the difference between analog and digital. And personally, my opinion is if you can hybrid it, and if you can have a version of live instruments being input combined with like a VST or, different plugins that can amplify those sounds, maybe chop them up or maybe stretch them in certain moments or make them slightly digital, but keeping that natural form is ideal for my style of music. And because I like the feeling. I don't want to ever get too electronic. One guy that I found was really interesting that is a producer is by the name of Bonobo. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I'm gonna check him out.
It's pretty interesting. So it's Bonobo, and I watched a couple of his videos and watched a couple of the performances. And what he'll do is he'll produce these instrumentals digitally, like as a composer, and then get them recreated live with bands or orchestra.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? So it's like
almost a reverse engineering, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, so I was thinking about doing something like that potentially in the future, but I know it's just gonna take a lot of time, and the more I really get into releasing music and just circulating more resources, getting more people involved, stuff like that.
Yeah, man. So what are your thoughts on AI tools in that space?
AI is a dangerous game because it's like there's been times where I've like played music online and I'll be like, damn, this kind of sounds good, and then I see like it says AI generated. They're like, you know what I'm saying?
It hurts. It hurts. I'm like, but it's you like it. You like it, right?
But like. Yeah, and I know some people use that to their advantage and do like affirmation songs just to like boost their day. And I think you can utilize it, but I hate the fact that it just people will run to create AI art versus like, I don't know, man. Like there was a album art that I just paid a guy to hand draw. It was like I paid him $300 to hand draw it. Yeah. And some people might just be like, "How the fuck you do that? Just go to Canva or just go to ChatGPT." And I'm just like, "Well, I love the art."
Damn right.
And I show you, it's a song I did with a Sapphire Ray, and I know we're on kind of weird terms. That's one of my previous partners as well, but it's called Lost Symbols.
Okay. It's
a really good song. It's actually,
is it out there on platforms?
It's out on all platforms.
So if we want to find that, we go to Drew Goldmind.
Drew Goldmind. Yep, it's all 3 words, and on all platforms. So mainly
and the song's called Sapphire.
No, the one's called Lost Symbols.
Oh, Lost Symbols.
I collaborated with a female artist by the name of Sapphire.
Okay, that's a female artist. My bad. So Drew Goldmind.
Correct.
Mental. Mm-hmm. And the song is called Lost Symbols.
Lost Symbols.
That sounds dope.
Yeah, and my whole point was that album art or that single art that we have there was hand drawn.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
It's really cool. Yeah, the dude. I mean, you want me to show you right now, or just not in the middle of it?
What you get, bro? So send it to me, and I'll pop it up on B-roll, bro, so everybody can see it. Yeah. So it'll. Yeah,
pop it up, and then it's just you see that right over here somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, it's already up there. And if you're not watching, man, y'all go check it out and see for yourselves, because a lot of people listening don't watch, right? So you know what? I just want to share my opinion on it, right? Not that my opinion matters. Like, I love AI. but I also don't feel threatened by it, and I do see the risks. I do see it as being dangerous, and the reason that I love it is because it gives, everybody the opportunity to create. So I could use my mind to create, and I could use the AI like a paintbrush. So I still think it doesn't take the art out. It's different if you just say make me a graphic, right? But also I love it because as somebody who isn't in a position to be able to afford to commission someone right now. Right. I can generate images with my mind, and then I don't have to do all the back and forth. But it's gonna be real, man. People are difficult to work with sometimes.
They can be.
But on that note, there's no substitute for the human soul. There's no substitute for the human spirit. That's why I don't feel threatened about it at all. I will never use AI to write my lyrics. I will never use a solely AI beat, even though I'm not knocking anybody who does. I just know what I like and what's for me. Right. You know what I mean? But I do think it's dope for somebody who isn't plugged in with musicians and all of those things, and wants to make music and write songs, to be able to say, like, I can use this tool. It's my song. I gave prompts for the beat exactly how I wanted it. I gave prompts for every single word, right? I wrote the song, right? I produced it, right? I think for that reason, it's dope. And I don't think that, I think there's a little too much hurt around it, right? I understand it, but I see people are shocked and appalled. How dare you use that flyer? I'll never support an artist with a flyer that's artificial intelligence. It's like, well, did you ever think about the fact that, like, maybe this person is like, a single parent working their ass off, not able to pay their bills, and if they didn't use AI to generate the image, because they didn't even have the apps to be able to do it themselves, like you know what I mean? Like, give people a little bit of grace. I do think it's oversaturated. I do think people abuse it. So that's what I mean when I say I see both sides. But again, like, I don't feel threatened by it. I embrace it, and I do understand the dangers of it, though, and I do think it is scary, like where AI is eventually going in terms of, like, replacing human beings, but in my opinion, my humble opinion, I don't think you can replace the human spirit. You can't replace the human soul, and that's going to create new opportunities for people who are craving that. So, like, it's like, you want the AI, and you're not with it, let them have it, and if you're not for it, bring your attention elsewhere, because there's a whole demographic that are craving that human authenticity. And we'll call it analog art. You know what I mean? Like, you feel me?
I definitely feel you. And realistically, AI in general will just stomp out the very basic redundant tasks.
Exactly.
As a tool, it can be great. I think that a lot of people are afraid of losing the human soul in interaction or with the art forms or customer service, or just going to the bar or whatever. In general, it gives people more time to focus on actual skills if you utilize it correctly. And you can definitely unlock a lot of things if you're prompting it correctly to actually give you the hard, cold, straightforward truth versus fawning and just easing your perspective.
Yeah.
And that's what I found with the certain AIs. It will just fawn your perspective and make you feel better and give you a lot of reassurance.
Love bomb the fuck at you.
Love bombing you rather than giving the hard, cold truth. And even, it's just depending on what program you're using, it can definitely be very limited in its spectrum of double checking evidence and just verifying stuff. And so
use it, don't abuse it.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
So use it, with a grain of salt, and definitely sit there and think about ways to keep it authentic. You know what I mean? Like think about how you can put your soul into the art form, how you can put your heart into it, how you can put your mind into it, and not just search for performance and solely productivity, because it's like, it's only one song that could change your life. You know what I mean? Like, it might have been a long time coming, or it could be one album, or it could be a ton of them.
Yeah.
But the reality is just like, use it to nullify redundant tasks. Don't use it for the core.
Yeah, and don't use it to think for you. That's, I think, the big mistake people are making is they're losing their own discernment because they're plugging in everything into AI. It's like, think for your fucking self. You know what I mean? You don't know who's controlling that AI and what they're mining from you.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel me?
This is realistic now because, yeah, I definitely feel that certain questions and certain individuals, just by prompting AI, have improved the skills of AI.
Yeah.
You know, and it's gonna happen regardless. And I think that whole realm is outrageous just in general because I have a deep mind, so when you look into a very neutral piece of equipment and electromagnetics, there's a lot of electrical anomalies, and like there's been multiple accounts of where AI had just responded in a way as if it was being channeled through, like either somebody hacked it or there was like some sort of soul or spirit or demon or whatever.
I just was reading on this exact thing.
So having those neutral standpoints of technology, in my opinion, and it just,
it's scary.
it can be hacked essentially, whether
by itself.
If you're thinking of like with somebody behind a computer or some etheric being in the fourth dimension we can't see. You know
Yeah, bro. That. Oof. That one hit heavy, bro.
I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, bro.
You know?
So I ain't cutting you down, bro. We're getting super pressed for time, and I want to make sure that you talk about everything that you got going on, where everybody can find you, and also any message that you want to deliver to this audience before we close out the show.
Yeah, man. So on all social media platforms is at Drew Goldmine, and currently I've been sitting on a lot of material, so I have a couple albums in the works. Just being quiet about the deadlines and the specific release dates. But what's released out there currently is an album called No Words. It's an instrumental tape. It's a voiceless journey through my childhood. As I spoke on, you know, I was tongue-tied growing up until I was 16. So a lot of those instrumentals kind of will walk you through the emotions and the feeling of my childhood. And then I also have a single with lyrics on it called Broken Hearts. And that's broken with an X instead of an O. And that was on all streaming platforms. Have a music video coming for that soon as well. And another music video coming for my song No Edition. Shout out to Rad Visuals, dope artist out of St. Pete with the visuals.
That's what's up. And maybe be on the lookout for an MP and Drew Goldmine collab with some of that 444. Yes, sir. That would be dope, bro. That would be dope.
Yeah, man. I'm super grateful, man. Yeah, so there's a lot in the works, man. There's a lot in the works. So
yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So make sure I'm gonna make sure if you got any closing remarks for the audience that you get them out there. And every single episode, I ask every single guest, what does legacy mean to you?
So first, you know, it's Drew Goldmine. There's a gold mine in your own mind.
Yeah.
My motto right there. What legacy means to me is filling your cup up enough to where that overpour on that saucer is completely filling others' cups as well. So I spoke on it initially in the beginning, generational wealth, really being able to think beyond yourself and having those 400-year plans or those 1,000-year plans so that, you know, what I'm doing now is going to benefit my great-grandchildren. That's the way I want to look at it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want to go obtain land and, you know, start a garden or have skills and have structure in place, though, so it's not that consistent riddle of, oh, the 2 generations of wealth and then, oh, they fumble it down because they got silver spoon. I want it to be, you know, 30 generations of wealth for a legacy of people that were intelligently structured to where they value. rather than just giving up and being like, oh, I'm Silver Spoon, I get whatever I want. No. Like, daddy, like, made me work for this shit. And I value this. So that's how I view legacy.
Yeah, man.
It's just beyond yourself and kind of thinking on a selfless manner with your purpose rather than just running around just trying to make the most money.
That's what's up, man. Beautifully said. Man, Drew, brother, I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you sharing your energy on this platform today.
Thank you.
Make sure y'all check out Drew Goldmind. That's M-I-N-D.
Yes, sir.
Mind.
Yeah.
Make sure you check him out. Check out his music. I am excited to check out that instrumental album because I only heard, a couple of songs that you had outside of that. So definitely, man. And listen, man, keep building. Big respect for everything that you're doing. And just one thing that I want to say in closing to you, right? I think it's important that we touch on this on camera, right? Because you talked about getting out of your purpose. Because of a relationship, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And I hope this doesn't feel too personal. I'm just keeping it blood raw because I went through something similar where, I found myself in a dilemma, right? Where I was given an ultimatum, and that's either to pour into a relationship that may or may not work out anyway, even though I truly was in love, or stay in alignment with my life purpose. You know what I mean? And that was a tough choice, but I chose my life purpose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I want to just encourage you to do the same, brother, because clearly you have some gifts to give to the world. Mm-hmm. And my life purpose, number one, first and foremost, and my legacy is my child. But this is live struggle legacy, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and by all means, do I take full accountability and responsibility for my own creativity and my own productivity. So I wouldn't say it was necessarily the relationship that took me out of it. It was me being so enveloped into this person that it was like, rather than me continue to lead my own life, I was like, my form of love is act of service.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm like, how can I help you, baby? Like, you're the sweetest, prettiest, most beautiful thing on earth. And I'm still leading the life. I'm still, I was paying the rent, still taking care of her. But like, yeah, man, I was being very performative rather than being authentic. So like, I could still do those things like pay her rent, still do those things. But I, also, like, Drew, like, sit yourself down and dedicate 2-3 hours to making a beat. Yeah. And she would tell me to do that shit sometimes, but I'd be so wrapped up in her that it was just like, I would get distracted based off my own self because I was so, like, enthralled with the relationship. And some people would even think that it was lust, but it was like, my attraction to her was like personality based, and it was just so playful. But overall, I allowed myself to get to the point where it was like, yeah, okay, you need time to grow. Like, I know I needed time to grow away from the relationship and build myself up so that if it really was true love, and if she really does want me, like, she gonna see what my passions are. She gonna see, like, oh, he's doing well with his music. Oh, and even, I haven't really mentioned this, I'm an industrial electrician in my day-to-day job.
That's what's up, bro.
Yes.
You deal with frequency, brother.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
sir.
I literally deal with frequency and motor controls and all these things. And, like, so my day-to-day work can get pretty fucking hard, so, like, I need a way to express and decompress.
Yeah.
And I do love how in that relationship that woman set up a whole area dedicated, like an altar to my like my music and like shit. And I was like, this is a good woman, but I genuinely at that time was not ready to accept it without seeing a condition,
Yes, sir.
So I was just like, oh, what is she trying to get from me? Or what is this about? Or, oh, do I really trust this? And that's where I fucked up, because she enabled me in a very positive manner to be productive.
Yeah.
But it was my own demons that were like, I was battling, that I was limiting myself. So I faced them, and I realize it now that, I kind of pushed away exactly what I asked for. but that's what it takes to learn what you love, you know?
That's right, brother. Sometimes you got to let something go and let it come back and find you, right? If you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it was meant for you. If it doesn't, it never was.
Side note, man, I need some of those G-Mans.
Man, holla at Takeo Faison, bro. Yes, sir.
Yeah, send me his link.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
Super fire, bro. Come on, man. I grew up on the G-Mans, man.
That's what's up. We all did, bro. If you're from the whole anywhere in the
I
hood
just
in
cracked
the
the fresh
southeast.
G-Man out the pack the other day, man.
That's what's up,
I
bro.
felt like it was nostalgia. It was, yeah, man. If you're from Florida, man, you don't know nothing about G-Man, man. You weren't really out there like that.
I'm trying to tell you. And big shout out to Takeo Faison, Cowboy Takeo, and Gentleman, designed by Cowboy, produced by G-Man. His Live Struggle Legacy at Drew Goldmine.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate y'all checking in. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. Drop a question for Drew in the comment section. Start a conversation. If you're listening on a streaming platform, please make sure you hit that follow button, download, save, rate us. If you're looking to promote your business, holla at me. We're looking for sponsors, and make sure you check out the LiveStruggleLegacy.com.
Yes, sir.
We building pyramids.
At Autism Acceptance All-Stars, it's more than awareness, it's action. When you sign up at the AAAS.org, you join a movement for acceptance, inclusion, and real impact. Don't miss our Memories Delivered program. We bring professional photographers right to the homes of autism families, capturing genuine moments in the comfort of their own space. Becoming an All-Star is free, but the difference you make is priceless. Visit the AAAS.org today. Be seen, be heard, be an all-star. If you'd like to promote your business on the show, please DM us for sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for tuning in. We out. Live Struggle Legacy. It's a whole movement.
I got you, big baby. I keep the struggle live struggle, live music. Pay attention to how we do it. And so my dog who never made it out. Live struggle, I got you, homie. We break it out, live struggle, live music. Pay attention to how we do it. And so my dog who never made it out. Live struggle, I got you, homie. The things we do when we down on our luck, like a dolphin, anything to get fucked up. What you think? Now we out here trying to get locked up. Desperation brings desperate measures, trying to come.